So 7 weeks ago I gave birth, and that's been great and everything, but I sort of am tired of wearing this, which is what I wear all the time now because, well, my old stuff don't fit, it doesn't fit, and also it's not really made for being puked on continuously. So therefore I've decided to give 1940s to 1960s another go with fabric that's meant to be able to be washed again and again and again, and with my new measurements. So I am totally the Toad and I'm back with another video, and we're just gonna go straight into making a new 1840s to 1860s dress. So to make this dress I bought a bed sheet that I'm going to use. It's 100% cotton and it's brown because I like brown, and I'm hoping that as it's just plain cotton, and it is cotton and I can wash it again and again and again, it will be sturdy enough for me to use, and I can make it comfortable enough and easy enough to nurse in for me to actually wear on a day-to-day basis. That's the goal. I'm using a pattern from Laughing Moon Mercantile, not Black Snail's pattern this time. Ooh. And the first thing you need to do is print all of the papers, tape it together, and then cut out all of the pattern pieces. So we're gonna start off by doing that. Let's get into it. As my measurements vary greatly compared to the sizes, I decided to cut a bigger size than I might need. So I'm cutting a size 18 and I hope that will work. We'll see. It's easier to take in than to take out, I suppose, and I hope it's going to be fairly adjustable. Fingers crossed. Now that we've cut out all of the pattern pieces, including the lining pieces, which I forgot to mention before, what you do next is you baste the lining and the fashion fabric together, and then you make a basting mark down the middle point of the dot. I will show you in just a jiffy. And after we've done that, we're just gonna sew the dots. So let's get to it. First step, baste the fashion fabric to the lining. also baste the middle of the dots to make them easier to form later. So I've finished doing the darts and I basted the bodies together with just very long running stitches. I will show you guys in just a second. And I tried it on. We do need to make quite a few alterations to it. I realized, I remeasured my waist and I realized that my waist measurement is closer to size 20 and I cut a size 18. So that's probably why that is, but if I would have cut one size bigger, I think it would have been way too big up top. So we're gonna take out the darts and I will show you what it looks like, the alterations that me and my friends sort of picked out. Yeah. This here is the unaltered side and I've pinned in the fold line, and up top it looks fine. At the bottom it's way too tight and it causes a big old wrinkle. It's up here. It also is a bit too long and I've marked, or we have marked here with a needle, just how much I need to take it up. This side we did some attempted alterations. So I let out one of the darts in its entirety up to just under the bust. Now ideally I can let out both the darts half the amount instead and it will be better. It will also be a bit shorter, so it probably will be a little bit better overall, but that's what I need to do. And I know that really you should have taken out the inches or so up here, but I didn't think about that when I started this, so my bad. I took out both of these darts, half of the amount, and that seems to have fixed it. What I also needed to do was move the angle of one of the darts so it's perpendicular to the other one, because it's supposed to be, but I figured out that when I just took in the amount they started forming an angle and they're not supposed to, so I changed that so now they're perpendicular again. It's not perfect, but it's good enough, it will not be visible. So next up is to actually iron these seams and then finish them, which I will do by just removing 3 of these layers, like clip them, then fold the other edge over and down and fell into place. I'll do that for the side seams and the shoulder seams. After we've done that, we're supposed to start with piping, and I was debating how to do this because I think I might have been able to use this fabric if I don't do any ruffles or anything with the skirt, which I kind of want to. But I bought this lace that I also want to incorporate somehow, and then I figured that I could use piping that matches. So I'm going to use this fabric for piping and I'll use this for the cord. It's just some old yarn I had lying about and it should be just about enough and about the correct size. So we have some stuff to do. To fill the seams, cut down all but one of the fashion fabric layers. Then you can simply fold that layer over and fill it down in place using small whip stitches. Because I redid the darts, now the bottom edge is a little bit funky. Let's fix that. And now let's make some piping. Simply cut long strips of fabric on the bias, fold it over with a piece of yarn stuck in between and stitch down. Now we simply attach the piping right sides together with the fashion fabric, stitch them down, fold in and secure in place. Here's what one of the finished little edges look like. Neat, isn't it? So this is where we're at. We're actually almost finished with the bodies. I did shorten it and I sort of tried to straighten out this seam right here. So now the back fits exactly where my waist is, which I think is correct. And then there's sort of slopes down gently. I'm sorry about the light. The sun is just coming in right through the window, so I'm sorry. Next up we have the sleeves, and I am a bit worried about the fit here. I think it'll be okay, but it's kind of difficult to tell before you've set them. So we're gonna start off with the sleeves now, yeah. So this is a sleeve pattern, and for the sleeves there are 2 markings here, and between these markings you're supposed to gather the sleeve down. I think that's to make more room for the elbow, but I'm not entirely sure. And then you just flip this and sew them together. Quick little update vlog thingy. I'm working on the sleeves. I'm just doing some small back stitches because sleeves, I don't know, I don't like sleeves and I want them to last, so I'm doing it. I just realized that I did not cut the sleeves on the bias, and I should have. I cut them on the grain. I'm not sure why I didn't look at the pattern. I think it's because I used the pillowcase for the sleeves, and it just so happy that it fit that it didn't occur to me that maybe it should have been on the bias. It should have been on the bias. So we'll see if that is going to be a problem or not. I don't think it will. I hope. Otherwise, I think I don't have enough fabric to cut a pair of full sleeves, but I might have enough fabric to cut a pair of short sleeves. So I think that's what I'll do if I notice that this is not working. I think I'll just make it short sleeves instead. Also, I forgot to mention that the front of the bodice is supposed to be boned. There's supposed to be 2 bones on each side, just where the darts are. I decided against putting the bones in. I was sort of thinking back and forth if I should or shouldn't use the bones, or like the boning, but in the end I chose this fabric and this pattern to work for my everyday life, so I made it a bit wider than maybe is period proper. Like, I didn't want it to sit too tight. I wanted to be able to go in the wash, and that's the key thing. I want to be able to go in the wash because I have a newborn and he tends to get stuff messy. So this really needs to be able to go in the wash and act as sort of a workwear kind of. So that's why I didn't put in the bones. Anything else I forgot to mention? Oh, yeah. The pattern calls for buttons or hooks and eyes. I decided to use hooks and eyes again because of my newborn. Because when I hold him, I kind of don't want him to be able to grab the buttons and pull them off. Now he's still too young to really grab stuff, but he will be able to in like no time. And then I think hooks and eyes are easy because then there's nothing on for him to grab onto in the front. So I don't have to worry about that. And then when he's even older, I think I can just sew in decorative buttons if I want to, and if I still wear the dress. So I finally had some time to sew, and I decided to start on the ruffle, and then I did this. I, of course, sewed it together wrong. So I sewed the right side to the wrong side instead of right side to right side, so now I have to redo that. But fortunately I'm just sewing it together using a running stitch and felling down. And I was just like, gonna be so nice with the ruffle. It's gonna look great. And then I realized how much hem there will be. And I was like, oh, that will take forever. But I think it will be worth it in the end. But yeah. But I thought we could take a look at what we've got over on the mannequin. So this is where we're at. As you can see, I have attached the sleeves. I think they ended up okay. I think it would have looked nicer with the mancherons as well, but oh well, maybe on the next version I will do that. I decided, as I think I told you, to add closures in the form of hooks and eyes, so I'm gonna do that. I have them prepared and ready to go. I just need to get over myself and do it. So here I am trying out the bodice, and I do think it looks nice. It's a bit bigger than it would have been like in the period because I made it a bit looser and I didn't add the bones. That's okay. And then I did all of the, you know, weird arm stuff you do to see that you can actually move in it. And I finish off with a Picard move. Okay, so here's where we're at. I've started working on the skirt and I needed to calculate how long the skirt needs to be because I sort of want to do a ruffle at the bottom, and I made this beautiful post-it to sort of calculate how much fabric I would need, and this post-it is the estimate of what I need. And yeah, as you can see, it's 3 by about 84 centimeter wide rectangle for the skirt, and then a 600 by 20 centimeter wide rectangle for the ruffle. So it's a lot, but I think it's doable. Fingers crossed, but I think it's doable. Hello. I don't have much battery, but I wanted to make a quick update. So I'm not sure if you can see, but the background is very different, and that's because we moved. We moved to a house. So I haven't had much time to film in a while, also because I've been so busy just packing and unpacking, and I'm so not even close to done with all of the unpacking. But I thought I would update you and myself of what I'm doing on the dress. So right now, just gonna switch hand here, we are felling the side seams of the skirt. So I have one side to do, and I'm just doing like a normal felling seam where I sort of turn in the raw edge and just whip stitch it down. And once we've done that, we're supposed to attach the skirt to the bodice and make sure that it's level. So I'll do that and then I'll check back with you. Oh gosh. I think that I forgot the ruffle at the apartment though, so I need to go back and fetch that at some point. Happy days. Good morning. So I am literally in my pajama. It's morning, and the reason for me being in my pajama is just because it's cold and I couldn't be bothered. This is the one time I have to film during the day before my partner and my son gets up. So, but I have felt the skirt, the top of the skirt, and I figured it would be a good idea to talk about the fact that the pattern tells you to fell it, I don't want to say irregular, there should be a better word for this, unevenly maybe. So the front and the back are not felled the same amount. So around the back it's felled like this, but at the front it's like this instead. So it's much more fabric being folded down. And the reason for this, according to the pattern, is that at this point in time, instead of evening out the hem at the bottom, you did it at the top. And as there's an unevenness to the bodice, it's longer in front and shorter in back, you need to even it out. The pattern suggests to do a specific set of inches to do this correctly, but as I changed the bodice pattern, I also changed how much to fix this. I can just see I still have a little bit to go. I just realized. But anyway, so what I did was I measured how much of a difference there was between the back of the bodice and the front, and then I just made sure to fold the amount more in the front than in the back. I'm not sure if I'm explaining this any well, but that's what I did, and I hope that that's what you're supposed to do. So once we've just fixed this tiny little piece that's left, we are going to do 2 rows of gathering stitches along the top so we can make cartridge pleats all around. And last time I did this, the pleats turned out very big, so I'm hoping I can make them much smaller this time. I think that will be better. I think it'll feel more sturdy and look a bit neater. That's what I'm hoping. I also wanted to point out that in the pattern they tell you that you should open up a slash in the front and you know, secure that so you can get the bodice on and off. Makes sense if the bodice is tight. Since I made it a bit looser on me because I'm not planning on wearing this with a corset, one, now that I'm nursing, and also I wanted it to be a bit more, I wanted it to be a bit looser now for a while I have my son very young. I can always take it in later, but I can't let it out as easily. So I can get the bodice over my head and onto me with the last hook and eye closed. So I don't need to create this slash, so I will not, because that just... getting that to be secure enough for machine washing, I need to figure that out. In the future, if I ever take it in to fit over a corset, I will need to do the slash, but that will be a problem for future me. So first things first, let's finish up this little seam I have left here, do the gathering stitches, do the cartridge plating, and then see if we can attach the skirt to the bodice. Yeah. So they said to do 1/4 of an inch, which is about 0.5 centimeters. So I did 0.5 centimeters. 2 rows of dots, and I measured. It's not going to be that exact as I wanted, maybe, because I don't know, it was kind of difficult to line them up perfectly, even though I measured. But still, that's what I did. And now what I'm doing is I'm just inserting gathering thread into the marks. So they're going to be 2 rows of gathering threads, and I've sort of divided the skirt into 4 sections to make it easier on myself. And my idea is that I can remove these gathering threads and reuse them, but I am running out of brown thread, so I will change to red for the rest of the skirt, just so I don't run out of thread to hem the skirt once we're done. Okay, so I have about 3/4 of a skirt to go to do this with, and then we can do the cartridge pleats. Good morning again. So before my boyfriend and my son wakes up, here's a quick update on the dress situation. I am currently attaching the ruffle, and to do this I'm just running a gathering thread and pinning it in place and doing running stitches basically to secure it, because it's not supposed to take any strain, so I doesn't need to be particularly strong. I hope it will look fine. I'm worried it's going to be a bit too poofy, but I think once I've pressed it, it's going to be okay. I was debating whether or not to do it like this, because now I did it right sides to right sides, I'm doing running straight stitches, and I'll just fold it and press it, you know, like a normal seam. I could have also finished the bottom seam and sort of finished the ruffle and just slapped it on top, so it would have had like a nice finished edge on top. I'm not sure if I can explain this properly, but I'll insert a picture so you know what I mean. There were two reasons for me not doing this, however. One, I wasn't sure if that was actually a thing, or if I just sort of dreamt that up, but the biggest part is just laziness. I would have needed to finish one extra seam, and I don't want to do that, especially not since I'm hoping to wear this on Saturday and it's now Wednesday, my dudes. So in order to do that, I would need to finish the arms attached to the ruffle and hem it, and the seam where the ruffle attaches to the skirt I can finish later. But I do need the ruffle to be attached and the bottom to be hemmed. Yep, so we're gonna do that. I've attached about half of it, and I've gathered up I'm doing it in quadrants. So one of the quadrants is currently gathered and attached to the skirt with needles, pins, it's called pins. I'm gonna sew that in place, and then I only have one quadrant left to gather and pin in place and sew in place, and then we're gonna press it and hope it's okay, and hope that it's not too long. I'm a bit worried. I measured it and it seemed fine, but I'm shorter than I thought, I think. So yeah, we've got stuff to do, but first let's mix some coffee. While wearing the dress, I did notice I kept doing this thing. Don't know why it keeps doing that, but I think I can fix it by just secure it in place in front in a few spots. Let's actually start to wrap up this video, shall we? Let's first talk about what I think of the dress now that it's done. And if we start aesthetically, what do I think? Do I like it? Kinda, but not quite. And there are two reasons for this. The first one is that it doesn't quite have that 1860s shape, and that's just because I sort of made it to be a bit looser than the true 1860s gown would be, because I'm not wearing it with a corset, and I just need that extra bit of of room and movement for me in my situation right now. I might take it in later when I can wear a corset again on a daily basis, but I can't right now, so that we have it. Secondly, aesthetically, I'm not sure I like it just how it looks on me, but this isn't really the dress's fault. It's just my body has changed after pregnancy and I need to get used to how it is now. So I think that it will take some time, but I just need to, you know, get used to how things fit now than they did before, and that's fine. So aesthetically, you know, I think it looks decent, but it's not a stunner, you know. If we go by practicality and comfortness, if yeah, then it's much better. It's much better. It's very comfortable to wear. There are a few movements that are sort of restricted, like reaching forwards. It's sort of restricted because there's a seam going right here. But other than that, I'm not restricted in the slightest. I can do everything. I can carry my child, I can nurse in it. I mean, really, it's very comfortable and you can do everything that you normally would in it. I made it a bit shorter than it would be historically for that reason, because I run around and I walk a lot of stairs and it's a lot of skirt, so I was like worried I would trip if I didn't shorten it a little bit. So, but yeah, it is very practical, it is very comfortable, and I will use it a lot. Construction-wise, I really like the pattern. It was very easy to follow, and yeah, it was really good. I can highly recommend this pattern. Yeah, I think that's about it for this video. I'm gonna wrap it off here, and I do hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, give us a like, subscribe, and all that jazz, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye!